Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for my Eden Zero Chapter 93. And okay, let's kind of start this off, but by pretty much addressing the pretty much elephant in the room, which is that which is that this which is that the chapter was much delayed by a week, and even though normally it would have come out last week, it came out this week. So that right there, it kind of tells me that what happened is that the bulk of the chapters that we've gotten up to that have been released and that we've gotten up to this point have all been chapters that they're pretty much like they're already previously that Masha had previously like pretty much one done and were already ready to be released. But now with the fact that this chapter was delayed by a week, I think what we sh- I think we're probably going to see like a little bit more of that of the chapter releases being pretty much being delayed. Um, I don't so now I don't know if that's going to be the case again that the next chapter's release is gonna skip a week, but yeah, it does show that this it does show that we are kind of reaching that yeah it is this current situation is even affecting Mashima now. So yeah, it's to be expected. And what like I said, I think we should I don't know if it's gonna happen next week, but we should probably expect more and more, like probably delays or just reworkings of the schedule on Mashima's part, because I know he isn't working with the same as with I know Eden Zero isn't published in Shonen Jump, but it is kind of like a parent magazine or something. So I'm sure they're gonna they're gonna try and like find some way around this, I think. Um, Now, okay, so yeah, let's get into the chapter itself. Eden Zero, chapter 93. So first thing to talk about is basically Amira, because the interesting thing about learning the pretty much depth of Amira's involvement in this arc is it gives us some interesting characterization of her and creates a dynamic where you can already see that she's going to be a character that we as the readers are going to love to hate and hate to love, because from as we see in this chapter with Amira, for as much of an arrogant and pompous bitch she can be attitude wise, at the same time there's no denying that since taking La Bilia's place, her tactical prowess and just being able to analyze this situation is the current situation is on full display. And the sad truth is, just in this chapter alone, we see how much more of a handle that Amira has on the situation, well, pretty much compared to our heroes, just from being imprisoned, as well as just her ability in order to simply assess the situation and come up with a relatively like interesting counter strategy just based on what our heroes have been talking about. Like it's a quality about her you're gonna hate that you love, because it forces us, because the thing with these when it comes to Amira in this chapter is she's that for as immature as she can act at times, she is kind of the adult and the voice of reason in the room right now. Like that's something that's kind of we're gonna be forced that I'm being forced to admit right now. And for as much of a deal as the devil as it may be in order for our heroes to team up with her, it is necessary because well, pretty much because of how much of a legitimate and resourceful threat Draken Joe has proven to be. So you kind of need to match that same resourcefulness against him. And Amira is the person tactical enough to do that right now. um, and the thing is too, I don't think that this whole thing with our heroes teaming up with Amira, I don't think it's going to be an isolated incident. I think as the series progresses, we're gonna find our heroes will be making a lot more alliances like this, especially if the antagonists going forward are anything like Draken Joe. Like if Draken Joe has already set a standard as the kind of villains we're gonna face in this series. So yeah, if the villains are anything like Draken Joe, that's gonna mean like possibly a lot more alliances going forward, specifically with like pretty much Justice, and specifically probably in the future we're gonna see our heroes teaming up with like Justice and the other and the other like Federation like government forces too and whatnot. Um, and okay, so uh, one thing I want to briefly touch on before moving forward though is that moment between Shiki and Amira, where Shiki is basically giving Amira the stink eye. The stink eye is pretty much like saying, "I don't trust you. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you." But after a very simple half-assed apology, Shiki suddenly goes, "Okay, we're cool. Now I trust you." And it's moments like that where I don't want to, where it's moments like that where you cannot convince me Mashima isn't intentionally poking fun at the friendship tropes for Shiki. It's way too damn blatant to be a coincidence, and if that is the case, then it's absolutely hilarious for it. But I mean, there is of course an underlying element to it, as we see in this chapter, where Shiki kind of realizes Shiki realizes that he's willing to do anything in order to protect Rebecca, even if it means allying with someone who used to be an enemy. I think that there is of course that whole underlying element to it. I'm not gonna deny it's not there, but at the same time there is kind of just that more front and center element where you can't help but say that, yeah, Mashima is outright blatantly just kind of just getting shits and giggles at basically at poking fun of like the friendship at the friendship trope with Shiki. Like there's just too many moments like that where I said to say that, yeah, he's using Shiki in that way for sure. Which, yeah, but again, there is that whole thing of like of Shiki realizes that, yeah, he's willing to do anything to protect Rebecca right now. But yeah, it's like it is kind of hilarious just to see him. It is kind of that whole exchange was just so hilarious in the sense where, okay, yeah, there's definitely an intention here where Mash was poking fun at this shit. Now, obviously, the big thing about this chapter is the setup for the rematch between Shiki and Draken Joe, and it definitely is a fitting parallel that they're basically about to throw down in the very same place where Draken Joe executes Shiki. However, it's also clear now that it's definitely clear just in the way that the whole sequence in itself played out from basically Draken Joe arriving to from Draken Joe arriving on the scene to Shiki and Draken Joe just kind of to Shiki and Draken Joe facing each other, that things aren't necessarily going to go the same way as last time. Because one thing almost immediately that's different is that Draken Joe doesn't even have his men with him. Like if you remember last time when Draken Joe arrived, he had a whole army of criminals with him, but this time it's just him solo. So that in itself is already a huge difference in the sense where and does give this situation and a sort of even the fight itself a more even playing field where anything can happen now. But one area I will admit that gives Shiki a little bit more of an edge this time around though is that as we see in this chapter, the pretty much moment that Draken Joe showed up, he immediately took action. He basically got everyone out of the trap and basically tossed and basically made sure that everyone else was basically at a safe distance away from him and Draken Joe, which and the fact that Shiki had the foresight in order to make sure everyone escaped from the trap and make sure to keep Rebecca out of Joe's reach shows that, yeah, he realizes that he realized the steps he needed to take in order to make sure that things didn't go last time, or at least according to Rebecca's prediction now. So there's that element in which he was the one who really started acting reacted fast on that one. And the thing and that in itself is interestingly revealing in the sense where however much the fight between Shiki and Dragon Joe takes center stage, the name of the game in this climax right now is basically keep away, and how long that the Shiki can keep Rebecca away from Dragon Joe. So as long as he and everyone else can do that, then our heroes, I think, have pretty much won. I think that's the name of the game, is how long that they can keep Dragon Joe away from Rebecca and vice versa and whatnot. Uh, and of course, in some ways, that's not the only part of the game, though. The other part is trying to overcome Dragon Joe's overdrive, because at this point, Shiki clearly has a grasp on the idea of his own overdrive. It's really just a matter of tapping into it at will and maintaining it. Because I believe, if I remember correctly, the fight with Jin was sort of an incomplete transformation, so now he needs to find a way in which to tap into that power fully against Dragon Joe. And right now, it's really a matter of how far he's going to need to be pushed in this fight in order for that to happen. Because if I think he had, what was it again? It was the fight with if we remember correct, it was in that fight with it was in that fight on but the last time he, I believe, had fully activated his power was, I think, on Sun Jewel. His overdrive power was on Sun Jewel, but that was kind of more a little involuntary. So right now, he against Draken, he needs to learn he can willfully like tap into that power now, I think. And it's just a matter, again, of how far he needs to be pushed for that. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and list your Crunchyroll. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.